comprehensive.
Comprehensive and a really good story, actually, because 3.5 weeks ago when England played South Africa on this very ground, they absolutely hammered them. 10 wickets, bowled them out for 69, and South Africa left here, and you worried for them a little bit, but their skipper said, no, we're going to park that, we're going to move on from that. They won their next 5 games, and they've now come back here in a semi-final and done to England what England did to them on the back of 2 special performances from 2 special cricketers. Laura Wolvaardt, you see how she speaks there, very calm, cool, calculated, a magnificent 169, chanceless, utterly brilliant innings, and then Marizanne Kapp, the steely-eyed Marizanne Kapp, when you want in a big occasion, on the biggest of stages, to deliver in a semi-final when they've lost the last 2 semi-finals to England in this format in the World Cup. That was 2 special performances. And they put to bed their sort of semi-final hiccups against England.
You and I have been fortunate to see some very special innings in the women's game. You go all the way back to Claire Taylor and more recently Davina Perrin. That has to be right up there as one of the great World Cup knocks there in women's cricket.
Yeah, again, the context of a semi-final. She said herself when asked there in the player of the match, where would you rank it at the top? Because it was a semi-final. We've never been to a final before. She just... 2 different phases. In the first phase, she just opened up the offside like she does, and then second phase, she went leg side and targeted the leg side with some power hitting.
We'll come back to South Africa and how good they were today. I'm delighted to say Charlotte Edwards has wandered in to join us. What are your emotions right now?
Oh, look, disappointed. I mean, you get to the semi-final stages and you're 1 step away from being in a World Cup final, and you know, I'm incredibly proud of what the team have achieved over the last few weeks, and not to play our best cricket today is disappointing, and obviously that's something we're going to have to reflect on.
Is that the pressure of the situation? It's happened a few times of late. You're trying to change a lot of things and instill a bit of a different mindset within the dressing room. It's still those pressure games, those knockout games?
I think, look, 2 players perform really well on the big stage, Marizanne Kapp and Laura Wolvaardt. And when someone gets 160 odd and when someone gets 5 for you're not going to be on the sort of winning side too many times. And I thought, you know, Wolvaart's innings was outstanding, and you know, Kapp's, you know, spell of bowling, she always steps up. So yeah, I mean, I think the players put everything into today, and you know, it wasn't to be today for us.
You had your chances though. I mean, with the ball at one stage, you really had them under control. I know you dragged it back well to start with them, but then to concede over 100 in the last 10.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's happened a few times now, sort of certainly in our English summer, and it's an area we need to address. And but equally there was some good hitting there. It's hard to restrict someone who's on 160 on a really good wicket. So yeah, look, they're things to think about probably after this. And but yeah, just disappointed. But obviously credit to South Africa.
Did you think about changing your side at all? I spoke to the captain at the toss and I said, this looks a bit different. She went, yep, this is the red Mumbai soil with a bit more bounce, a bit more in it for the seamers. But your 4 spinners have done so well. You've got 2 extra seamers, you know. Could you have brought one of those in, or just not in a big semi-final to change it?
Yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think, you know, we've stuck with that combination. It's done us really well throughout the comp, and you know, at times we just didn't hit our straps today. Certainly in that back, like you say, that back 10 really cost us. I think it would have kept him to sort of 280, which probably was a you know, pass score. You know, we may have been able to chase that down, but yeah, it wasn't to be.
Got through the semi-finals at pretty much the earliest opportunity, and that's obviously the first thing you came here to do. Obviously you wanted to go on and win it. I'll take you back though to a couple of games. You obviously had the rain-out game against Pakistan, which I think we all agree you sort of dodged one there. But even against Bangladesh, you know, Heather was dropped 4 times. That could have gone the other way. So I'm sure you're very proud of certain aspects, but it's not quite right for the players you got.
Yeah, and I came into this role and I knew it wasn't going to change overnight. I've seen some really positive things to come out of this trip, and I think we've performed a little bit better under pressure. Certain moments we haven't seized, and that's going to be an ongoing thing. But I think overall we are making progress, and I think that's the most important thing. But ultimately, you're defined on your results, and today we're going out of a World Cup in the semi-final stage where, we were all hopeful we could really make that final.
Well, you're very results-based coach, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a winner.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like losing, but equally, I knew what I took on with this role. I knew it wasn't going to be a quick fix in terms of, you know, we've got some areas we need to work on. But you know, that probably makes me more hungry now to go back home and work with these players over the winter period, which we've not had this period. You don't, as an international coach, get time with players to actually advance their games, and I think we've got an opportunity this winter to hopefully do that with some of our younger players.
Well, let's sort of throw it forward then. I mean, what is on the to-do list? And in terms of perhaps bringing in fresh cricketers, what are you thinking? What are you seeing at the moment?
Well, we've got a new cycle now of ODI cricket, haven't we? But I think first and foremost, it's the T20 World Cup. We're going to go home. There'll be players going off to Big Bash, but there'll be a group of players that will be training from December through till March. We've got a few camps away in Oman and South Africa, where we're going to spend time with these players and hopefully upskill them, and hopefully they can deal with, you know, these occasions better. And you know, but that's exciting for me, and I'm looking forward to sort of getting that underway in December. Are
you excited by what is coming through in the women's game?
Yeah, and that's another opportunity. We've got a performance programme working alongside the England team this winter. We've targeted sort of 13 to 15 players who we're going to work really, really hard with, and you know, that's exciting as well because there's some great young talent coming through. There's players who've missed out on this trip who, with injuries, you know, the likes of Freya Gemps, Danielle Gibson, so they'll be coming back into the mix, and obviously with the T20s coming up, you know, we hopefully will have an exciting squad for that.
Is it time though to start rotating through a little bit? Because when the squad was announced, it was pretty much the same sort of players that we'd seen before. There wasn't really any wild cards coming in. Was it too early for the likes of Tilly Courtine, Coleman and Perrin and people like that?
Like, yeah, it was too early, and you know, and in terms of you know, the players that had got this far, we wanted to stick with them. But it's exciting now. We've got a new group of players coming through. We'll go home, reassess. We won't make too many rash decisions, but we've got to look at the future now. And I think, you know, we've got some unbelievable talent coming through.
What do you say to the girls after that sort of performance? And you're out of a World Cup. It hurts, but
yeah. I mean, it's going to be a sad dressing room. I don't think I'll say too much tonight. I don't think there's anything you can say tonight that's going to make things better. But yeah, it's disappointing. But as we all know, life moves on pretty quickly. These girls will be off to Australia soon, and but yeah, I'm hurting too.
Thanks for speaking to us. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, maybe some aspects of the fielding is something that South Africa could look upon, but this evening has been their evening, and particularly their captain, Laura Wolvaardt. 470 runs at an average of 67. Quite an extraordinary knock from her today to pile on the runs, meaning England needed to chase 320, which was always going to be a stern challenge. And then you throw in Marizanne Kapp for South Africa with that new ball and her competitive nature. That's quite a heady mix for South Africa.
Yeah, I said on commentary, when you're in that huddle and you're a captain, you're saying, come on, let's switch on here. We're almost like we'll go out there as if we're protecting 280 and not 320. You just look over your star performer and you can just see in her eyes, we've played with cricketers like that the bigger the occasion, the more pressure that's on, you look at someone in the eyes and you know they'll be there for you as a captain, as a team, and that is Marizanne Kapp. Brand new ball, nipping it back in, the setting up of Amy Jones, first one outside off, then nipping it back in and crashing into middle and off. Got a little bit lucky with the Heather Knight dismissal. Heather Knight didn't know which way it was going, dragged it onto her stumps, but she was on the top of her game. And then you come back and you want the best player in the opposition out. You know you're getting that Siverbrunt out, you go on to win the game. She does that, 2 in 2 again. Some competitor, some talent, bat and ball. And she'll be there, she'll be loving a final. She doesn't take a backward step against anyone. 2 incredible performances. It is a team game made up of individuals, but those 2 individuals were so far above every other cricketer on show today. Laura Wolvaardt with the bat and Marizanne Kapp with the ball were just magnificent, just too good for England.
Well, they're into the World Cup final. Their 2 world-class performers have been performing. Marizanne Kapp for a long period of time. What about the other aspects of South Africa, whoever they take on in the final? Can't rely on those 2 every single game.
No, I mean, I think in that run that they went after losing to England here, and they won 5 on the bounce, I think they had performances from others. I think Chloe Tryon actually has had a very good all-round tournament. You'd hope Tasmin Brits recovers from that shoulder. It didn't look good. She has a history of shoulder problems because at Navi Mumbai on a good pitch, I think she can go after either Australia or India. So, you know, they weren't fancied. Some people gave them no chance here against England, and they're in a World Cup final, and they love going under the radar. And now people will give them no chance against Australia or India. They'll love that. They will love being the underdogs, and they'll go prove people right. It'll be a great story. South African cricket in the last couple of years, semi-final, final, World Test Championship final, win that. The women get to their first ever 50-over final. It's been a good couple of years being a South African cricket fan, and this would be, with the World Test Championship at Lord's for the men, this would be the icing on the cake if they could go to Navi Mumbai and win this and be 50-over women's World Cup champions as well. So it's still a long way to go, but they will love being the underdogs.
Well, they'll be in the final, underdog or not. They'll either take on India or Australia. That semi-final is tomorrow. What about England? When we arrived and when the squad was first announced, did we expect anything different despite the change of captain and coach?
I think with Charlotte Edwards, you probably did, because like you said there, she's a winner. She won't put up with mediocrity and people coasting, and it does take time to change a culture, and I think that's what she had to do. Nat Sciver-Brunt mentioned it to you on interview yesterday, from the previous regime to this regime. My areas of concern still too heavily reliant on Nat Sciver-Brunt. Very similar repetitive nature of dismissals for the top three, the ball nipping back in or swinging back in. What are they doing to correct that? It seems to be repetitive. Young players, I know Capsey got 50 today, but you look at some of the opposition young players, or you know, look, Phoebe Litchfield as an example, or even not so young players, people who've been around for a while, like Sutherland and Ash Gardner or Tasmin Brits, who's got 500s this year. But England's young players are not progressing. So Dunkley's had a poor tournament. Capsey until today, those youngsters she mentioned and you mentioned to her, Davina Perrin, Tilly Courtine-Coleman coming in, I think it's a sign of a coach and a system that if your young players are progressing, then that is a good sign that you're getting things right in the dressing room. Your greats will always become better and better. Nat Sciver-Brunt, you know, will always become a better and better cricketer. That's why she's a great. But I'd like to see the young players progress a little bit.
Might need
more.
a left-hander in the order as well somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, Freya Kemp is good, but she's a bit more of a finisher. Jodie Grucock at Essex, who I saw in the 100 a little bit, I think she's pretty talented, to be honest. The only problem is these names that we've mentioned there, Davina Perrin, Jodie Grucock, Tilly Courtine-Coleman, they're still quite a bit experience away from what we've had here. So that's why they've gone with this for what we've got now. How you start introducing some of these young players under a superb coach in Charlotte Edwards is going to be important. So you do progress them as cricketers. So there is a bit of a gap. It's also easy. Davina Perrin gets that 100 in 20-over cricket, 100-ball cricket, excuse me. That's me gone, by the way. 100-ball cricket. That means that everyone's like, she must play.
Yeah.
There's a big step from that to the next level, playing for your country. So, and in Tilly Courtine-Coleman, they've got two very good left-arm spinners already. So do you play a third left-arm spinner? Left-handers, they're lacking left-handers. Even at the end there, when Lindsay Smith was going, you could see South Africa just a little bit like, oh, we're going to have to change our lines, and the field's going to have to change. England, all right-handers coming in, one after the other. You know, Alana King hits a line and a length, and they can't get away. So there are still areas to improve. I wouldn't say there's been massive progress. They look fitter, the fielding's better. Their coach is a superb coach that will make them better if you give her time.